the ugly side of America is that people are using these riots to lose track of the fact that we just saw in 2020 a man get murdered by our police force, which is supposed to serve and protect. That is the same kind of shit that countries have started revolutions over, is the fact that your militarized force, the service that is supposed to maintain law and order took a man's life. Mm-hmm. They murdered a citizen over a $20 counterfeit bill. He was denied due process. He was denied every single constitutional right, including his life. And some people seem to still be focusing on, look at what has happened since then. Whereas I say, from now on, you blame everything that happens moving forward regarding this on Derek Chauvin and those cops. You want to complain about the riots? Don't blame the people rioting. I like some of them, I'm sure, are pieces of shit. And to be honest, I've seen some of the rioters. They're not even protesters. They're like fucking punk kids. They're like, and there's even videos coming out of like cops destroying shit with no protesters around. So I'm anything that's happening, you cannot lose sight of why it happened. And why it happened is because Derek Chauvin murdered George Floyd. And so if you want to come on here and try to say, well, how dare they do that? How dare they? And if you can't hear us right now say, how dare they murder George Floyd? If you don't want to hear that, then I really believe that there's something wrong with you and you don't belong in a progressive country that is going to try to move forward from this. And the sad part is I was on, like, you're off Facebook. I got tagged in something and I looked at it. Then I happened to scroll down. I saw somebody who was like a family friend who posted something saying, this is all something that the Democrats are doing. They're trying to incite a race war. And I'm like, you guys, you have eyes. So either here's what you don't want to see. You don't want to deal with the truth, which is right in front of you. How can you deny? Do you think this video is photoshopped? Because either it comes down to one of two things. Either you don't care or you really just, I mean, it's just the one thing. You just don't care. If you honestly don't think this is a problem that a man was murdered, then you don't care about African-American lives. You really don't. And it's just like, I don't know if you saw the video of the dude, the fucking person I don't know where he was, but he pulls up in this. It was actually kind of funny because he got his ass kicked, rightfully so. He pulls up in this car to a protesters. He pulls out a crossbow and this girl's filming him.
I saw it. She's
like, what are you doing? And he screams at her, all lives matter. And then right after he does that, he shoots the crossbow into the crowd. What is wrong with you? That person has a vote. That's the problem.
Yeah. There's 100% certainty that if you can watch that video, I can't even watch it.
I can't watch it anymore. I saw it once.
Yeah, right.
I definitely am not going to watch it again.
It's so egregious and disgusting that, part of me thinks, I would like to think, just like I think we talked about last week, Shad, the wrestler that saved his son's life or didn't save his son's life technically, but he swam out to save his son in the ocean, and he was like, save my son first to the Coast Guard, and then he died. I'd like to think that if I was in the ocean, that I would be able to do that. Similarly, albeit it's hard because, as I've said, I don't know who I was talking to, but like I've been pulled over a lot. I've been profiled a lot.
Yeah.
I've never once feared for my life though.
Yeah.
The worst fear I've had is I'm going to go to jail. Something like that, right? So I don't know who all was around when this was happening, but what goes through my head is like, I would like to think that if I had been there, like if I had been on one of the flights on 9/11, that I would have tried to fight back or something. I'd like to think that I would have stepped in some way that, even though I would have gotten trouble for it, maybe I end up in some sort of awful situation too, that maybe it saves his life. And this is not a knock on anybody that was around, obviously.
Of course not.
Because none of us were there. But it's so incredibly disgusting to me that these cops sat there, and that's why I think they should all be charged as accessories. They all sat there and could have easily looked at them or looked at whatever the fuck his name is. I don't even want to say his name.
Yeah.
And been like, bro, the fuck are you doing with your knee in his neck?
Yeah, or just like he's had enough.
Yeah, like he's clearly not fighting back. Like at what point? And what are y'all waiting for? Like there's 4 of you. You wait. Like, were you waiting for the SWAT team? Like, you know, I've seen arrests go down where even when I was a bouncer, there was a time where we had a guy on the ground. I had my knee in his like lower back, just because it was impossible for him to move.
Yeah.
He had beat up one of the bartenders or something crazy like that. So we were waiting for the cops, but we weren't cops.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there thinking like, what are you even doing for 9 minutes? Like, did you call in some sort of weird backup? Like you think all of a sudden this big black man is going to take all 4 of y'all? We need the SWAT team. Hurry up, please help type of thing? Or like that. And that's the part.
And he was handcuffed.
Well, exactly.
I mean, that in your training as a police officer, from my understanding, is that's the ultimate goal, to handcuff.
Correct.
Them. Most people who are handcuffed can't do shit.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So the fact that he's on the ground, I mean, even if he ran away, what the fuck are you going to, like...
I mean, what would have been the harm? I mean, then they were right under the fucking cop car. If you're that worried about what he's going to do, there's 4 of you. While you're kneeling on him, wherever, have one of the other officers shackle his feet and then pick him up and put him in the car.
Right.
And then take him to jail. If that's what you're going to do, take him. Now, I still am confused as to why this is even an arrestable offense.
Yeah, I mean,
because like if you most places, like for instance, a long time ago there was a problem at the bond window in Denver with people passing counterfeits.
Yeah.
But the sign on the wall says if we test your money and it's counterfeit, we're going to keep it.
Yeah.
It doesn't say we're gonna call the police on you. So whether he was passing off a fake 20, whether he was writing a bad check, or whatever the fuck he actually was doing, because I've heard both. That one person or one group of people or story was that he was writing a bad check. Don't ask me how they knew it was bad. Unless like the name on it was like, you know, Gail Kim or something like that. And they're like, you're not Gail Kim. Or he's passing off a fake 20. What different? I don't give a fuck which one he was doing.
And it all comes down to, regardless, there have been people that have been murderers. Think about the people they take into custody. They took fucking serial murderers into custody. Mm-hmm. They took
James
Holmes. They took the Oklahoma City bomber, Timothy McVeigh. They take you into custody because it is your right as an American to be allowed your day in court. It doesn't matter what you did. You still get your right. As long as you are not resisting arrest to the point to where you have a gun and the officer feels like your life is threatened. And that's really how they've been able to get away with it so long. And that's why I don't know. I mean, like, I hope his death needs to be for something, because this really was, and no disrespect to any of the other people who have been abused, murdered by the police, anything, but this is the biggest clear cut. And you know, it's hard for me to admit, but it's like the same thing is, I'm always like, what is the context? What is the context? And with every single other one, no matter how horrible, there was still that glimmer of, well, you could kind of see it from this other side. There is no other side to this.